people's health.
But
so we've got to do it.
The changes that the leader of the Labour Party are making. Let's give you another example. You were pretty passionate about the case for trans rights. You said that they weren't in conflict with women's rights. You've now changed your party's position to be pretty close to what the Conservatives are saying and acknowledging that on occasion they are in conflict with women's rights. So I ask you on that one, have you lost your nerve on that?
Again, no, and I don't, and I still stand by. They're not in conflict with women's rights, and we've talked about the Gender Recognition Act, we've talked about reform, we've talked about a process. Of course, there has to be a process for people that is supportive, and that's when you get into the weeds of how you ensure that we do have trans rights that are compatible and compassionate and humane. At the moment, the process isn't, and we've acknowledged that there is problems with the process, and therefore there has to be a process that is a supportive process that recognises that people can transition, and that we do that in a way that is supportive of those people. But we've also, and in the Equalities Act that the Labour government introduced, had the safeguards within that for women-only spaces, and that's absolutely appropriate. And we've seen the conflict of what happens when those safeguards are not put in place.
Keir Starmer has changed a whole series of things that he stood on when he stood to be Labour leader replacing Jeremy Corbyn. You once described yourself as John Prescott in a skirt. In other words, a deputy to him in the way that John Prescott was to Tony Blair, although with an important difference. Do you ever say no to him?
Yeah, of course, and Keir says no to me.
Oh, I knew that. I just wondered if you ever said no to him. Because some of your members keep spotting these changes and saying we're not sure what this party stands for.
No, I mean, part of the changes, look, when me and Keir took over as leader and deputy leader, we're in a very different place to where we are now. The Tories have crashed the economy. We've had a pandemic. Well, we took over just as the pandemic was right in full swing. And we also have the war in Ukraine. And there is a very different context to where we are now. What we're saying is our values remain exactly the same, and our manifesto that we put forward will be different to what the Conservatives have offered, and it will be changed for this country and what the country needs. And mine and Keir's relationship has evolved as well. I often talk about it as an arranged marriage. We were both elected by the membership differently and independently, and we've worked constructively together, and we continue to do so because me and Keir both know that we need a Labour government and we need that change in this country.